Now, Spain has deployed soldiers to the land border of its North African enclave of Ceuta after an estimated 6,000 people arrived there yesterday. The government says it's now returned nearly half of them to Morocco. Many of the migrants gathered at the border fence. Witnesses said Moroccan police appeared to do nothing to intervene, fueling speculation that the relaxing of the border controls is a political move by Morocco. Guy Hedgecoe reports from Madrid.
Ceuta has long been a magnet for African migrants desperate to reach this European city. But the influx of an estimated 6,000 migrants on Monday is unprecedented. Many floated round the border fence at low tide on makeshift boats. Others swam round. One man drowned, but a number of migrants were able to cross on foot. There were several hundred children, and in some cases entire families came. The vast majority of those who crossed were Moroccan, and all of them were seeking a better life.
When you have no money and you have to pay your rent and you have to take care of your children and parents, you can't afford to be scared.
As you see, all the young people want to leave the country. There is no work.
Spain has reinforced security along the border fence between Ceuta and Morocco, and it has even deployed the army. But Ceuta's emergency services have been overwhelmed by the arrivals. A warehouse used to quarantine migrants can only hold 200 people. Spain says it has started sending migrants back to Morocco. However, relations between the two countries are tense, something many see as the reason why Moroccan border guards apparently allowed the migrants to cross in the first place. Guy Hedgecoe, BBC News, Madrid.
Well, the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez has cancelled a planned trip to Paris due to the crisis and will travel to Ceuta shortly. He's promised to do everything possible to get the situation under control.
At this time, my priority as the Spanish Prime Minister is to guarantee transit on the border with Morocco, provide the cities of Ceuta and Melilla with all the necessary means to solve the humanitarian crisis that this arrival of people implies, and proceed to the immediate return of anyone who has entered Ceuta and Melilla irregularly.
Now, I've been speaking to Olivia Sundberg-Diaz from the European Policy Centre. She believes a diplomatic row between Morocco and Spain might be behind the sudden influx of migrants in Ceuta.
This rise in arrivals comes against the background of a rise in diplomatic tensions between Spain and Morocco over the past few weeks. This has been fueled by the fact that Brahim Ghali, the leader of the Polisario Front in the Western Sahara, was treated in Spain a few weeks ago for COVID-19. Morocco strongly opposed this and warned that there may be consequences. So while it is still very unclear exactly what has happened, there are some sources that suggest that Moroccan border guards may have relaxed their border control measures as a result, as a sort of act of blackmail towards Spain for its political decision. So it's still unclear what has happened. Spain has stated that first and foremost it needs to evaluate what went wrong, but this could certainly be a factor. And then on top of this, there's, of course, a wide range of broader structural factors that may lead to people to want to make the move. This includes economic instability, the impact of COVID-19, the fact that borders have been closed for a long time and international mobility has been severely constrained. And now some of those restrictions are beginning to ease. So it's probably a combination of these factors.
And some people have been sent back, but a number still remain in Spain. What is being done to facilitate them, and where are they, do you know?
Exactly. So there's been a mix of measures. On one hand, Spain has returned 2,700 people so far to Morocco. This is a practice known as devoluciones en caliente, or immediate returns. And it's really not new, but it's a very concerning practice on behalf of Spain, because it raises questions about whether procedural safeguards are being provided for those people before their return to Morocco, whether they have access to legal aid, whether their individual case for asylum is getting a chance to be heard. So there's a lot of questions about what's happening to those people. On the other hand, some others have not yet been returned, and one particular question concerns what will happen to minors. At least 1,500 people that have crossed into Ceuta from Morocco are children, and they tend to not be subject to immediate returns to Morocco. Spain has stated that it will act in the best interest of the child, that it will evaluate their situation on a case-by-case basis. But for the moment, their situation is quite uncertain. And the big question is exactly what will be done. So far, they have been sent to emergency accommodation in industrial warehouses. But the reception conditions, the accommodation conditions there are really subpar. They are already overwhelmed. So a lot of advocates and human rights organizations are asking what other protections are available. And for example, whether there's a possibility to transfer them to the mainland where better accommodation is suitable. So still a pending question.